If you want to enter the world of personal AI agents, Nanoclaw is the easiest of the option. It infers with Claude and you can interact with agent through Telegram, Discord and other messaging channels. Nanoclaw can create new agents on its own to handle specific tasks while you interact with just one agent. More on using Nanoclaw later. Let me show you how you can install Nanoclaw on a Raspberry Pi headlessly and then interact with the agent through Telegram. Let me show you my setup first. I already have a Nanoclaw agent running on this Raspberry Pi. It's in a Python Man mini case. You don't need anything fancy like this. You can simply use an SBC, naked SBC like this. No need to connect to a monitor because we will be doing a headless installation. That means we don't need a monitor. So your SBC don't need to be connected to a monitor. It could be just, be like this. Although this one is an ARM SOM SBC. For simplicity and availability purpose, I'll be using a Raspberry Pi. My Raspberry Pi is in this Pyron Man case. Again, you do not need a fancy case like this. I have these things, so I'm going to use them for this specific demonstration purpose. So as I said, I have already done these setup before, so it is easier for me to explain all those stuff to you in a more precise and concise manner. So what I'll be doing is I'll connect my Raspberry Pi to the power source here, and then I will go to my desk and control everything through SSH from here. So this is exactly where I'll be doing all the background work. Everything will be handled on my desk, and that Raspberry Pi will just be connected on my work desk, like the workbench, and my main desk is where I'll be controlling them. So the first step is to install Raspberry Pi OS on the micro SD card, which is here for me. I don't have an SD card slot on my laptop, so I'm using an external USB adapter for the SD card. And then we come here, and since it is a headless installation, we will go for Raspberry Pi 5, and then in the Raspberry Pi other OS, I'll choose Raspberry Pi OS Lite, which has no desktop environment, which is suitable for our need. Alright, so choose the storage device, the SD card, and then choose the host name. For me, it shows Python Man Mini because I used it before. This time it's a Python Man Max, so I'll change the host name to Python Man Max, and then choose the keyboard layout, time zone, and city, and etc. Those things, and then a username and password. Password should be something that is not easy to forget for you. Otherwise, you will have to reset the password. Most important is the Wi-Fi SSID of the Wi-Fi and the password. This is important so that the Raspberry Pi connects. And also you have to enable the SSH, otherwise you won't be able to connect to it. No need to enable Raspberry Pi Connect. And everything looks good. This is a summary of what we are going to do. Click the right option, and then it may take some time to download the image, write it, and verify it. So it's just waiting game. You can grab a coffee or do some other stuff while this process is running in the background. So I'll just speed it up here so that you don't have to wait for all those things here. All right. As the write is complete, I'll take out this thing from here. Okay. All right, and take out this SD card, and I'll go to my workbench and put on, sorry, I'm using handheld, so bear with me. It had, okay, it's conveniently placed here. Basically all you have to do is put your SD card in your Raspberry Pi or whatever computer you are using. Okay, next let me power it in. Okay, all right, so let me turn it on. I disconnected the power cable and plugged it in again, and you can see that the green light is there. That means the Raspberry Pi has been turned on. And now I'll go back to my work desk, my main working station, and here we will use SSH to connect to it. Let me open Angry IP Scanner. This is the tool I use for looking for devices on the local network. So as you can see, there's Byron Man Max local with IP address 118. This is what I need. Let me open a terminal and SSH into this IP address. Okay, I see an error because I have already connected to this IP address that was used by some other device. So what I'm going to do here is to remove the key, delete the key added to the known host file in .ssh directory, find the keys related to the 118 IP address and delete it. Once I delete it, it should connect to the SSH normally. Okay, so as you can see, it asks me if I want to add it to known host. Yes, and then enter the password which I had set while burning the SD card. Okay, so I am inside the Raspberry Pi. It's a fresh device, so it should be a good idea to update the system, the package cache first with apt update, and then also install any pending upgrades with apt upgrade -y. Before we install Nanoclaw, it will be good to get the Claude authorization token. This could also be done on Raspberry Pi while setting up Nanoclaw, but since it's a headless installation, I'm not entirely sure of the process. So what I'm going to do is on my main workstation install Claude CLI and then use the Claude CLI to get the token with Claude setup token command. You'll see a browser URL to open this and then authorize it, and then it will give you a token that starts with SK. Note it down somewhere, we will be using it later on. Installing Nanoclaw is easy. Actually, it takes only 3 commands. That looks simple, but it takes more than 3 commands actually. So let me start with the first one. You can run it in the home directory itself. It's a dedicated machine for Nanoclaw after all. So git clone to clone the repository, which failed because there's no git installed here because it's a fresh headless Raspberry Pi solution. So let's install git first. So when git is installed, you can now clone the repository, and you'll see that the repository has been cloned, and then you enter the cloned repository and there will be some files. So what you have to do is look for the nanoclaw.sh shell script and run it, and from here just follow the on-screen instructions. The script takes care of a lot of things for you. It installs the basics, and when it is installing the basics, it does not show a lot of things on the screen, which is slightly disappointing, but well, it abstracts things from you, which is not entirely a bad thing. It shows how much time has passed, and then it shows the next step. I think it should have been better if it shows more activity on the screen, but that's just me. Okay, after 28 seconds, the basic installation has been completed, the basic setup. So let's go to the standards setup and follow the on-screen instructions whenever it gives you the option. It takes some time for assistant sandbox. At least in my case, it did take some time. So wait for the assistant sandbox preparation. So the sandbox is ready, and next step is to set up the OneCLI. OneCLI is an open source tool that stores the tokens and credentials for authentication for the tools that your agents will be running. Now, this is a good thing because agent won't access the tools, tokens, password directly. It will be going through OneCLI. This is a security feature, and this is built into Nanoclaw, and that's one of the beauty of Nanoclaw here. Setting up one CLI could also take some time. I don't know why. It may take a few minutes or more than a few minutes. It really depends. So the waiting part could be boring, but well, it is what it is. So once CLI is ready, it asks you to use the Claude subscription. We already generated the Claude OAuth authentication that starts with SK, and you have saved that long string in the editor someplace, I presume. So just copy and paste it, that long string here, and then it says the Claude account has been connected and access rule has been set. So that's good. So most of the things are done by now. So Nanoclaw is running and it's asking what should the assistant call you. You can provide your name or the username it suggests, uh, or like in my case, I let it call me Mr. Anderson for historic purpose. The metrics reference, I guess. Okay, so here's the thing. At this point, it says it could not reach Nanoclaw service, and so it asks to install Claude CLI to diagnose the issue. You can install and this do random stuff, but I know the problem. The problem is that this is a headless Raspberry Pi installation, and it installs a lot of build tools in the same session. So when it installed Docker, it added the user to the Docker group in the same session, and that doesn't work. So one solution could be just log out of the session from SSH or restart your Raspberry Pi. Don't worry, you can again run the nanoclaw.sh and it will kind of resumes the process from the point where you left it. So in my case, I logged out and then logged in back again, and then this problem was solved. However, we will face another problem, but I'll show you the problem actually. If you do not restart the uh, Raspberry Pi at this point, you might face another issue with the Telegram connection. It asks to connect to Telegram. You go with yes, and so it asks you to go to Telegram, create a bot with bot fodder. So I'll switch to that screen, and from there, when you generate the bot token, you'll have to paste it here. So even after pasting the bot token, it tries to connect to the Telegram, but it in my case it wasn't successful, and all thing led to the problem that everything happened in one session after installing Nanoclaw. It was set up, it was added to various groups and things, but even after entering the secret code on Telegram, it wasn't accepting. I tried it multiple times and I tried to generate the code multiple times. It didn't. So what did work was to restart the system. So I restarted the system and rebooted into again and started the nanoclaw.sh script again, like what we did earlier. This time it says that okay, things are already there. It prepares the assistant sandbox, but it won't take as long as it took before. One CLI ready, everything is ready, so it's starting nanoclaw in the background, and we'll go with the same process, which is to connect with Telegram. So it already found the token, Telegram bot token, and it is okay. Go to Telegram account, and then it shows a secret code, and I shared that secret code this time on Telegram and waited. Okay, and this time it was connected successfully, and it was connected, and it asked me if I want to create the Telegram account with owner, admin, or member. Since it is for my personal use, I set it up as owner, because this is what you will do. You will be the owner of the channel where you will be interacting with the bot. Okay, so go with owner. And what should your assistant be called? Name the assistant anything. You could name it the same what you named the bot, so that it is easier to recognize, easier to distinguish. Nano Prakash. So there it was, Nano Prakash bot on Telegram. Here we will call it Nano Prakash. You can use whatever name you want. So now it says okay, everything should look good together, and then it says okay, heads up, everything is set, you are set. So now you can chat with the Nanoclaw agent through Telegram. You have successfully set it up. I can show it to you that okay, on Telegram it shows things, and then it's looking good. So things are set now. Nanoclaw is connected to Telegram, and Nanoclaw works with Claude. So you interact with the agent through Telegram and ask, give it tasks, interact with it, and the Nanoclaw running on the Raspberry Pi will use Claude to work on those tasks. I will be showing how I use Nanoclaw personally, the AI agents in my workflow in later videos. For now, I hope that this video helps you to install and set up Nanoclaw on your own setup. And if you still have questions, you can always ask me in the comments. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to the video, because I'll be sharing more of my experience with local AI and AI agents and home level on this channel. Bye bye for now.